eating disorders, bulimia, anorexia. You both run a clinic to help other people with it. Is that correct?
Compulsive overeating.
And you need to put that close.
And compulsive overeating.
And compulsive overeating. Okay. And both of you have experienced these things yourself. You're both, I guess the term is anorexic or bulimic, or is that correct?
Recovering.
Recovering.
I'm recovering.
Okay.
Anorexic,
Well, what does recovering mean?
It means I am not actively engaged in those behaviors anymore.
Okay, and yours was bulimia, anorexia, or both?
Both.
Both. Okay.
It means I don't use food in any way, or eating or not eating, or throwing up, or taking laxatives. I don't use those things anymore to be able to control my emotions, to be able to control feelings that I have come up.
Okay, how long ago have you been recovering? Or free of it, or whatever the term is?
5 years.
5 years?
Yeah.
So you've had no bulimic or anorexic episodes or temptations to engage?
I have anorexic thoughts periodically.
Okay.
When I walk, sometimes it'll just pop right up.
Okay, what would that thought say?
All right, that thought would say I'm fat.
I'm fat, and therefore I shouldn't eat.
Therefore I better certainly watch what I eat today.
Yes, and if I eat very much, I better throw up.
Yeah, I don't always get that. I get the anorexic thoughts more than the bulimic thoughts.
Okay, all right. So you better not eat because you're too fat. And quite often anorexic people, if I understand it right, can be very rail thin and yet think they are fat.
Exactly.
Okay, all right. You want to add something to that, Jan? Do I remember correctly from the phone? You have experienced bulimia yourself, which means
binging and purging, and my form of purging was always laxatives. I never threw up.
Yeah. Okay. All right. The thing is, you would go ahead and overeat, and then you, by whatever means.
If I decided by the end of the day that I had eaten too much, and I'd usually make that decision somewhere during the day and figure, well, I might as well keep on eating, and then I'll take the laxatives tonight and get rid of it all.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And so there's this binging and purging and binging, and it goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. Okay. So I want to ask you something, just from what you've heard here and knowing about your patients and your own experience. If you were to deal with somebody who is anorexic, let's say I'm anorexic, and I come in and I have anorexic tendencies, what might you do with me with EFT to help me along with that?
I'm going to think of one person in particular that we're working with now and what some of her issues are. And I think probably what I would begin with was doing some, I'm sure she'd be reversed, but I might do some arm testing just to show her that, because I think that's kind of an impressive thing when you're doing this with somebody.
It's a real aha once you've experienced it.
Yeah. And then the first thing I would do is the reversal on a fear of getting fat. And then my guess is it would break down into aspects. It would either be fear of eating food in general, fear of eating certain foods, and there might be a bunch of those to go through. I don't know whether it would take going through each one or.
And basically, if you want to take anorexia, as I understand it, and pull it all down, to one or two fears, if you will, one or two negative emotions, it would be the fear of getting fat is one of them. I mean, they do have this behavior because they have a fear of getting fat, looking fat, being fat, getting sick because they're fat, whatever the reasons are, because fat people just shouldn't be fat, and I don't want to be one of those, and they have a fear of being fat.
Right.
Okay. Another one would be. As you were talking about, some specific fears that it will come out of their mouth as you talk to them,
Right.
And you want to deal with each of those. But basically, for something as complex as anorexia and bulimia is, and is fairly wide, what percent of the population? It's mostly female, isn't it? Okay. Well, what percent of the population?
10% are men. 10% of the people with eating disorders are men.
Okay.
Probably the old numbers are 10%, and we suspect that it's probably someplace 15 to maybe 20% of people who have some kind of eating disorder.
And of the population?
And that's a clinical eating disorder. And then there's a number of people above that that have what we call disordered eating, where they use food to medicate feelings, but they might not necessarily have a clinical definition of an eating disorder.
Okay, I want to pick up something you just said, and we're going to spend time on it at another session. You said they use food
to medicate feelings.
They use food to medicate feelings. Okay, I'm gonna restate that in EFT terms if I can. They use food to tranquilize anxiety. Okay,
Exactly.
and that's going to be the absolute core of our addiction and craving session that we're going to have a little bit later on. Here we go. Clark has an idea of what an addiction is.
It is compulsive behavior that one engages in despite the knowledge that engaging in it may be destructive to themselves.
Okay, good. Compulsive behavior people engage in despite the fact that it might be harmful. Okay, Jeannie has a definition.
And it's also characterized by loss of control.
And what do you mean by loss of control?
Just literally what I said, loss of control
Like
over
I don't
a
have any
substance,
control over the fact that, that I
whether
want
I'm
this
ingesting
cocaine or this cigarette
right.
or something. Okay.
When I
Or
have
this
some, I
chocolate.
want more.
Yes. Okay. All right. All right. Who else can add to that about addictions? Anybody have a comment on addictions? What does it mean to you? It's a disruption. Well, it is actually. It's a disruption. Here, Larry.
I'd say exactly what Clark said, but with the intense craving.
With intense craving.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Now let me ask you this, and I just want to see a show of hands on this if I can. How many are of the view that an addiction is a habit? Can I see your hands? Okay, that's most of you. Typically, we view addictions as habits. People will say, I smoke cigarettes, it's just a bad habit. They will also say it's a nervous habit. I'll point that out, why they say that in a minute, okay? But I want to talk about habits for a minute. And I'm going to talk about a habit that I have. I have a habit in the morning when I wake up of putting my left shoe on before I put my right shoe on. Okay? That's a habit of mine. Okay? Now that habit is very easy to change. I need only take a little note and put it by my shoes that says in the morning when I see my shoes, it says, put your right shoe on first. Oh, okay, I'll put my right shoe on first and my left shoe. And if I do that for a few days, always having this note there, am I going to change my habit? Yeah, fairly easily, am I not? That's not a big, anybody, after you do it for a few days, you kind of got the new habit, if you will, and the old habit goes away. Is that hard to do? No, very easy to do. But what about the habit of drinking alcohol, or smoking cigarettes, or chocolate, or raiding the refrigerator when you're not hungry, or biting your fingernails? What would happen? Here, let me ask you this. I want somebody to raise their hand and respond. Would it work for somebody who wants to give up cigarettes to put a note by their cigarettes to say, don't smoke a cigarette this time? You don't need a microphone. How many say no? No, okay. Well, why wouldn't it work? I mean, it's a habit, isn't it? What's the difference? It's the same thing, isn't it? Is it different than changing my shoe habit?
More than a habit.
What? More than a habit. Yeah, we have words of wisdom coming from Mac here. It's more than a habit. Can you expand on that?
Well, it's an addiction as well as a habit.
It's an addiction as well as a habit. Yes, that's true. That's true. I'm looking for other words. I guess I have some other alternative words back here coming.
If I put on the opposite shoe from what I'm used to, it does not affect my anxiety level one way or the other. But when I look at the note on my cigarettes, my anxiety goes.
That's right. If I take cigarettes away from a smoker, it won't be very long before they are very anxious. Right? If I do if I take a fingernail biter's hands and tie them behind their back, they're going to get anxious because their tranquilizer has been taken away from them. You see, addictions, and this is the point to make, addictions are driven by something, and that is always anxiety. Okay? Now, I want to make sure I make a point here. I am not speaking of anxiety as it is specially defined within the area of psychiatry. There's a special, phrase they give to anxiety. It's a special disorder. I'm using a very wide brush on the word anxiety. It just means your general unrest, your fidgetiness, something that the everyday person would use as the term anxiety. Okay, so when you have anxiety, which by the way our culture loves to give us daily, and so does our relationships and our jobs and everything else. We manage to have plenty of reason for anxiety as our lives unfold. When we do, it's very uncomfortable, and we may not really say to ourselves, gee, I'm anxious. but nonetheless we are, and so we will revert to some kind of tranquilizer for that. In America, probably the most often used one is food, interesting enough. But of course there's cigarettes and there's all kinds of behaviors. There's spending behaviors. People could go off and just, I'm anxious, so I go off and spend money. Other people go to the racetrack and gamble, or Las Vegas and gamble. That's their way of handling that. Bite their fingernails, or whatever. Adrian and I went to a place called the Alano Club a couple of years ago, 3 years ago. The Alano Club, if you don't know what it is a place where people who have gone through AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, will gather together to socialize, and give each other support. And they actually have a bar there, but it's soft drinks, and they have a pool table and ping pong and a place to socialize and this kind of thing. And so, a few hundred people come and go from there all the time. And Adrian and I wanted to give a free presentation, free help, for the addiction area. And so we sat in a room to make a presentation to the board of directors. That room was about a third the size of the room that we're in. There's a big, long table. And we sat there with about 7 or 8 other people, and we were to make our talk about a half an hour into this. They had some business to do, and then they're going to introduce us. So we're sitting there, and here are all these people who have gotten beyond alcohol. All right, so they no longer had an alcohol addiction. Yeah. However, they were smoking cigarettes like you wouldn't believe. And they weren't these, these little filtered things, whatever. These were Camels, okay, extra strength if they have them or whatever, okay. And they go, it wasn't just one cigarette here, and it wasn't just one of the people doing that. Every single person was doing that, and they're putting them down right one to the other. Neither one of us smoke. Adrian and I, we don't smoke, and we're sitting there. And they were drinking coffee. This is 8 o'clock at night. Okay? And I don't mean just light little coffee. I mean espresso type, or some of them were doing espresso and regular coffee. It was heavy coffee, okay? Did they get beyond alcohol, yes or no? Well, they got behind alcohol. Yes, they got behind alcohol. Did they get over their anxiety? No. Did they switch addictions? Yes. Why? To relieve the anxiety. See, the driver behind it is the anxiety. Those people who quit smoking, what's the first thing they do typically? Eat, and they gain weight, do they not? You're looking at somebody who quit smoking at age 24 and gained 30 pounds. Okay? So if you're going to be successful in giving up some kind of an addiction, you've got to address what drives it. That's the anxiety. It's not going to really, it's probably beneficial, I guess, to get over alcohol because of its effect on one's life and trade that for cigarettes and coffee. But that's not a very good trade. It may be a better trade, but it's still a trade nonetheless. So if you're going to get over that, you're going to need to address anxiety. Well, I wonder how you would address anxiety. Who could guess? Does anybody have a guess how you might address anxiety? Oh, let me see a hand. Something. And we got a microphone. Here we go. Jim Garrison's going to tell us how we might address anxiety.
Tapping.
Why?
Because it'll align your energy systems.
That's right. And what is anxiety? Is anxiety, by the way, a negative emotion? Yes. And what is the cause of all negative emotions? A disruption in your energy system. Anxiety is nothing more than a disruption in your energy system. When you are feeling anxious, your habit is to go to your tranquilizer, okay, whatever it may be, or tranquilizers. Some of us have several, okay. To tranquilize, it's a nervous kind of uncomfortable feeling which you want to get rid of. Now, interesting point here. I had a telephone call a couple of years ago it was a nurse that attended one of my seminars, and I tried to make this point to her. She called me up. She said, I want to lose weight, but I keep raiding the refrigerator. Like eating when you're not hungry, which many of us do. And I said, well, that's because you have anxiety. She says, no, I don't have anxiety. I says, you don't? No, I don't have anxiety. At a workplace, etc., but that's not why I eat. I said, well, why do you eat? She says, because I'm bored. She was using the term boredom and wasn't relating to the term anxiety. To her, she wasn't anxious. She was bored. To me, it's the same thing. It's still a nervousness, if you will, of some form or another, which causes her to raid the refrigerator. That's why people will say, oh, I just do a lot of nervous eating. You ever heard that phrase? I do a lot of nervous eating. What they're talking about is they're responding to the anxiety that's driving it. Okay? All right. Well, yes, go ahead, Jen.
We talk a lot in our group about why people eat when they're not hungry, and boredom is one that is always said, but other things that come up a lot are I eat when I'm angry to push the anger down, and I eat when I'm sad to push the sadness down. So how does clearly anger and sad are not the same feelings, but how does anxiety?
To me, it is the same thing.
Well, I think they're anxious about having that feeling. That's where the commonality.
However you want to call it. See, again, I told you I use the term anxiety with a very broad brush, and it will encompass sadness, anger, or whatever else. It will encompass, in my definition, it will encompass all of that. It's an emotional driver toward. I just call it anxiety. Yeah, go ahead, Al.
Yeah, would you also encompass the word stress as part of that?
Oh, sure. Stress is another word for anxiety, depending on how broadly you want to define these things.
Okay,
sure. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, to me, it's all the same thing as disrupting the energy system. You may have heard that before. Maybe even seen it written someplace. Why don't I put it out here so it stands out? There we go. Can we have a hand for our statement here? Okay. Well, as it turns out, from an addiction point of view, and by the way, when I speak of addictions, I'm also speaking of weight, because what is weight if it's not an addiction to food where one eats more food than one really needs? Right. It's the same issue. So whether we're dealing here with getting over cigarettes or chocolate or something like that, it's also getting over eating when you don't really need to eat. It's the same concept. Okay. As it turns out, there are two parts in our experience to getting over addictions. One of the parts is the fact that 99 or 80, 98 or whatever percent, almost everybody who is addicted to something and wants to get over it is psychologically reversed against getting over it. If I arm test them and said, I want to get over my cigarettes, they'll go weak. I want to smoke even more. They go strong. They get psychologically reversed, which means, if you recall, they will self-sabotage themselves. That is, even though they want to give up smoking, or they want to eat less, or they want to give up the alcohol, or whatever it is, what they're going to do is even though they want to do that, and they give you a long list of reasons why, it's better for my health and my relationships, and blah, 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 doing all of that, they will still self-sabotage themselves. Even when they've gotten partway down the road, they'll still find a way to self-sabotage themselves over and over and over again, and you've seen it many times. It's like a New Year's resolution, right? You have great intentions, but you are psychologically reversed against the things on your New Year's resolutions list. The reason I know that is you don't accomplish very many of them. Am I right? Okay. Great intentions at first, but if you're reversed on it, what we're going to show you here is not how to get over the addiction per se. We're going to show you how to get over the immediate craving for something. That's a different issue than the addiction. The addiction is one thing. The immediate craving is something else. Now, if someone has truly made the decision that they want to quit whatever it is, then when they come to that point where they get anxious or they get their cravings for whatever it may be, if they will do the tapping, as we're going to describe up here, if they will do the tapping, their anxiety will go down, hence their craving for that particular substance will go down. And once you get used to this, what you can do is, instead of having your cigarette, tap, 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 the craving goes down, the driver goes down, and you go on till the next time the craving comes up. But that's a great way to get over the hump, is it not? It's a great way, because you have a choice at that point to either tap or drink your alcohol or smoke your cigarette or eat your chocolate or whatever it's going to be. Okay, that will be your choice. Where the self-sabotage comes in, where the psychological reversal comes in, is when you have that choice. If you reverse, which choice will you make? The substance, or you'll eat, or whatever. Okay, and that's to be aware of that. Okay, to be aware of that. But what we're going to show you here is how to get over that craving itself. So you were supposed to, over lunchtime, get whatever it was that met your fancy from a craving point of view. How many have something like that? I just want to get an idea. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Oh, you have some wine. What do you have, Jen? Oh, sugar. Did you bring sugar? Or?
Did I bring it?
Yeah.
Oh, I always have some. For emergencies.
Okay, for emergency, do you crave it now?
Yeah, as soon as I think about it.
All right, well, you own them. Okay, who else back here?
I got sugar as well.
Sugar, okay, all right. How about cigarettes? How many of you here want to get over cigarettes? One, raise your hand so I know.
I don't know if I want to get over it or not.
Oh, do you want to learn how to reduce the craving? Can you hear the anxiety, by the way? Yeah, don't take my tranquilizer away. I'm not criticizing you. I'm just pointing out.
Thank you. I would like to learn how to what? What am I like to learn?
to reduce the immediate craving for the cigarette if you want to.
I'd like to learn how to reduce the immediate craving for a cigarette if I want to.
Good girl. Yeah, right.
Smoke in my car. I don't smoke in my car.
All those who would like to experience this, please come up here. And bring your cigarettes or your wine or whatever it is with you. We're going to pass the kisses out. Yeah. By the way, if you want to do this with chocolate, she has the Hershey Kisses right here. However, now this is what I want you to do, okay? I want you to take the chocolate, or the cigarette, or whatever it is, and I want you to smell it. And I want you to take a little tiny taste of it. The purpose is to get your craving up as high as you possibly can, okay? Don't eat the whole thing, just a little taste, okay? Yeah, Sandy, take a dry drag too, would you?
Put it in your mouth. Oh, well. Does that, if you put it in your mouth, does it bring it up?
No.
No. Even put it a dry drag?
Okay. No, just for the moment, you're an 8, though. Is that what you are? Yeah. I'm an 8. Okay. Yale, what are you with your chocolate? What number do you give it?
About a 7.
About a 7. Mary? 4. A 4?
About a 4.
That's for your wine, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you taste it?
8.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, 8, okay.
I don't have a craving right now.
Oh.
So can I go sit down?
Yeah.
Okay, but grab a piece of that chocolate and put it in front of you, just in case it comes up. Do we have to tap you because you're in public? That could be another aspect. Oh, it's a cigarette? Okay. All right, no craving now.
8, and I want to know what you're going to do with the rest of that bag when we're done.
You can have it if you still want it. Okay. Although you have to share it with,
Especially with me.
Yeah.
I'm about a 6. A 6. 9.
A 9. Okay, remember your numbers, please. And those of you out here, write your numbers down so you know what it is, because you need to be able to assess it as you go through. Okay, now put it down, but I want you to put it in a place where you can look at it, okay? Because I want it there in your awareness, all right? And so here, let's rub the sore spot. Find the sore spot. I accept myself, even though I crave that, whatever. I accept myself, even though I accept myself, even though I crave that. Okay, on the eyebrow, this craving. Side of the eye, this craving. Under the eye, this craving. Under the nose, this craving. Chin, this craving. Collarbone point, this craving. Under your arm, this craving. Let's do the 9 gamut, okay? Close your eyes. Open your eyes. Hard down right. Hard down left. In a circle. Other way. Happy birthday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Happy birthday. Okay, this craving for whatever, this craving for, this craving for, craving for, craving for, this craving for. Okay, now, what I'd like to have you do now is take a look at your substance, okay, whatever it may be, same with out there, and I want you now to assess on a scale of 0 to 10, whatever number, if it's still the same number, that's fine. I mean, report that. If it isn't, report that, okay?
5.
From a
9.
9, okay?
3.
From a
6.
From a 6.
3 from a 6.
Okay.
I'm still an 8.
You're still an 8.
Oh, I'm a 6.
You're from an 8?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm about a 1 from a 4.
Okay.
4 to a 0.
4 to a 0?
0. Good.
7 to 3.
7 to 3. Marriott, what I'd like to have you do, you're a 0 now on this. What I'd like to have you do, is this yours?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to have you take it, and I'd like to have you take a little bite of it, if you will, smell it, and try to get your craving back up for it and tell me what happens.
It's not there. Just not interested.
How does it taste to you?
I don't know. It doesn't taste the same. It just doesn't taste the same.
How would you describe the taste?
Kind of flat.
Kind of flat. Okay.
Yeah,
good.
No excitement in it.
Yeah, okay, good.
Not like it used to have, huh?
Not like it used to be. Okay, well, have a seat. You're done.
Good. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, now, well, no, wait a minute. No, wait, we got, come on up here, John. We have one from 8 to 8, right? Now, I want to know something. Everybody was doing their thing. I heard somebody up there say, even though I have this craving for sugar.
Yeah.
Was that
Yeah,
you?
it was.
Okay. I want you to be specific on the chocolate.
Okay.
That candy right in front of you.
All right.
Now.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, we're going to do another round, and I'm going to assume, we're just going to assume that you've already gotten down a ways, because we're going to say, even though I still have some of this. But I want you to zero in on that piece of chocolate,
Okay.
and then I want to see what happens,
All right.
okay? Yeah, we have a question back here. Oh, why don't you put the microphone, or hold that other microphone, that would be helpful. Here, Trina.
Can you test her right now and see if she's reversed?
Sure, come on.
We're going for reversal. I know I'm reversed. I need to be tested.
Yeah, see, well...
I mean, I can feel the conflict between wanting to not want it, wanting to eat it right this second, and wanting to eat it again and finish the rest of the bag.
Yeah, I could, but for interest of time, I'm not going to do it right now. She's probably reversed anyway, okay. All right, rub the sore spot. And I want you to do this very emphatically, okay? Even though I still have some of this craving for... I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I still have some of this craving for it. And look at your substance. Look at your cigarettes or whatever. Even though I still have. I deeply and completely accept myself. Okay, this craving. This remaining craving. 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 We'll just stop there a second. Close your eyes, just relax a second, all right? All right, open the eyes again and assess your craving. Now, we'll start with Eileen for the chocolate. Is it still is it 5?
It was 9 to 5, it's about 2.
It's about 2, okay.
About a 1.
Oh, about a 1. You started at a 6. Okay.
About a 1.
About a 1. You started at a 6 too,
Yeah,
I think.
it's just I'm really ambivalent about it.
Okay.
Mine's down to about a 5 or 6.
Okay, so we moved this time.
Yeah, I moved. I still want to eat it, but it's not as strong.
Sure. Margot, how about your cigarette?
Yeah, I'm about down to a 2 or 1. I'm ambivalent. I can take it.
All right, well, right now, I'd like to have you take a cigarette out and smell it. Okay, and tell me what that does to your immediate craving. Does it go up, down, sideways, or what?
No, it's just the smell of a cigarette.
Well, okay, take a dry drag on it, as though you were smoking it, and tell me what that does to your craving, if anything.
Yeah.
So you're still a 2?
I'm still a 2.
Okay, good. All right. Pam?
I'm 0.
All right. Would you mind tasting the wine for me and tell me if you notice if it still tastes the same?
It tastes the same, but I don't really feel like drinking it.
Okay. All right, good. That's because, who can tell me why that is? It's no good with it's no good with chocolate. It's because her anxiety
Put together. Yeah.
It's because her anxiety, which she associates with the wine, the anxiety is gone, therefore she doesn't need the wine. That's the point. Okay.
And I'm wondering if this isn't connected with it.
Oh, Nadella. Yeah, question. Why don't you say that?
One of the main reasons I wanted to do this workshop is I wanted to get my weight down. I had control of my weight. And so I've been working on it since I've been here. And I noticed this morning when I was at the bakery, I didn't want anything. And then when I went to lunch, I went to one of my favorite restaurants across the road there. And I was eating it, but I didn't finish it. And I thought, what's wrong with my appetite? And then I'm going, oh, well, maybe something's happening. And I'm wondering how much my wine every night also has affected my weight, because
I'm sure there's a lot of calories
even
there.
when I went and got the wine, I didn't feel like, I really want to drink this, which is unusual for me because I can drink just about any time.
And you started at a 4.
Yeah.
You started at 4
so
instead
that was
of an 8
really
or 10 or
that
something.
was very low for me.
Yeah.
You know.
And you've also been up here tapping with me a little bit too, which all has all of its side effects. But yeah, it's probably all connected. Yeah. And you've been tapping when you start tapping for weight and stuff, you are tangentially tapping for anxiety.
Right.
If you tap for anything, you're tapping for anxiety, actually.
Let me share with you that there's one woman that I've been working with her craving for wine, as a matter of fact, and we've done the tapping. Now, this is something that might be it, and you may not want it again, but chances are with an addiction, it's going to come back, so you're going to tap when the craving comes up. But what she found is that all of a sudden, it wasn't so important. And then she'd go and pour a glass of wine, and she drank a few sips, And she didn't care about it anymore. It's subtle things like that that other people may say, well, it didn't work because you poured the glass of wine and you still took a sip. Well, not so. She's noticing things little by little, so just be aware of that.
Yeah.
Like the bakery, like you didn't want anything.
And I will point out again, it may be that we have just severed her addiction to wine forever. May be, probably infrequent, probably another anxious moment you'll start thinking about the wine and so on. But I don't know that. It could be totally gone. We get surprised a lot. It happens. It does happen. You could be totally gone with that at the moment. I mean, forever. But I want you to realize it's probably going to come back, and you can do the tapping again to get the same sense you have now. How you doing, Yale?
Yeah, I noticed that too, that my craving for chocolate wasn't as strong as it usually is.
Oh.
So I started out at 7, where usually it's probably a 10.
Yes.
And
what are you
it's
now?
down to about a 1 now.
Down to about a 1. Okay. If you want, you can sit down. Yeah. Okay. You want to give your wine to somebody, or you want to save it for later?
I don't want it.
Okay. Well, we're going to do yet another round if we can. I want you to make sure you keep your eyes, on your substance, because we want to keep the body. You want to keep yourself tuned to the problem while you do the basic recipe, right? It's tuned to the problem. Okay. Thank you. Rub your sore spot. Even though I still have some of this craving for, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I still have some of this craving for, I deeply and completely accept myself. Good. I deeply and completely accept myself. Okay, on the eyebrow, remaining craving for. 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 Okay.
Okay, well, I'm going to start with Margot, because she immediately said,
I don't have a craving for a cigarette now.
Okay.
and that was just when she unreversed herself again.
Oh,
when she
okay.
did this.
All right.
Right.
All right. So you could. So if you wanted to quit cigarettes at the moment, if you wanted to quit cigarettes, and you had the craving that just came up, you have now within probably less time than it takes to smoke a cigarette.
Yeah.
You have reduced your anxiety, so you could walk by that now.
Right.
That doesn't mean you'll be able to walk by it 2 hours from now. If
Right.
the craving comes back and so on, then you have another choice, don't you?
So if I want to, I just tap.
You do what we just did, and after a while you even get better still at it and better still at it. And I will show you a little shortcut, by the way. I'm doing a little longer version here, but just so if you want to add something else to your repertoire, usually with the addictive cravings, you only need 3 points: under the eye, the collarbone, and under the arm. That's usually all you need. The rest of it, let's say it's not helpful, but usually that just by trial and error, that tends to be what it does. So it's very quick, isn't it? Under the eye, collarbone, under the arm.
Physical craving as well as emotional craving?
I'm going to answer that. Before we go to the next round, I just had a question that I want to address. Thank you so much, Margot. And I should have addressed it earlier, and thank you. Larry asked, was it the physical craving and as well as the emotional craving? Actually, they are, although there's some linkage, we treat them as 2 parts, or we consider them as 2 parts. The physical craving, for cigarettes at least, and most substances as far as I know, leaves the body in 3 days. After 3 days, there is no more physical reason for cravings. But people still have cravings for years thereafter, especially when they're using willpower to try to get over things. They still, still have their cravings. This seems to address both, as a matter of fact. But it has the important advantage of addressing the emotional one, which is the stronger part of it, because it lasts longer than everything else. Okay? Did I answer your question well? Okay. Now, did we get our new numbers? Yeah, we did. Okay. No, we didn't. I'm sorry. Okay. How are you doing, Eileen?
0.
0.
Oh,
well, which one of these is yours? Will you take another bite for me? And I want you to try to get your anxiety or your craving for that up, okay?
We can hear it, you.
I don't want it.
You don't want it?
No.
How does it taste to you?
It's okay, but I don't want it.
Okay, but it doesn't taste any different.
No.
Okay.
Well, it tastes a little bit different, but I still don't want it.
Okay. Well, can you describe the difference if you can put words around it?
Well, before, when I took a bite, I wanted another bite immediately.
Uh-huh.
And now I took a bite and I don't want another bite
Okay.
immediately.
All right, great. Great. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Annie.
Okay. Margaret?
0.
You're a 0.
Oh, yes.
Oh, you're a 0. Which one is yours?
That one right here.
Would you take a bite again for me? And I want you to, the purpose of this is to try to get your craving back up. Okay.
I just taste a lot of sweetness, and it's more the chocolate that I like rather than the sweetness, so I don't like it.
Okay. All right. Good. You don't like it.
No.
Interesting words. Okay. Great.
Thank you.
By the way, the reason I ask about the taste, just so you'll know, is quite often when people do this. See, your body knows you shouldn't have your addictive substance. It knows that, whether it's a candy bar or the food or the alcohol or whatever it is. And once you take the driver away, the anxiety away, the body tends to start giving you the right messages. Like, it just doesn't taste right now. Some people will call their chocolate, they'll say it tastes chemical-ish. Chemical-ish. A lady last month said that her wine tasted vinegar-ish. I think I said that earlier, I'm not sure. But anyway, how are we doing?
I'm a 0.
You're a 0. Well, let's go through
I'm
the...
kind of repulsed by it.
Well, try it anyway.
It's just... It's just, yeah.
It's a great face you're making.
No, it doesn't taste good.
Okay, good. All right. All right.
Have a seat.
Have a seat. Jan?
Okay, Jan. This is interesting what she's going to share.
After that last round, I finished it and I would have said 3. Well, I was at a 3. It was really, I could probably walk away without a second thought about it. But as I watched the other people take a bite, my craving went back up to probably to about a 6 again.
About a 6. Okay. All right. Gail?
I'm a 0.
Well, let's give it our test, okay?
This is the first time in your life that to be called a 0 is okay.
Yeah, it tastes very sweet. I taste again, like she did, the sugar, but not the chocolate so much, and doesn't particularly do much for me.
Okay, easy to walk by.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
walk away
Okay,
from it. I'll
all right.
leave it here for somebody.
Okay, leave it here for somebody else. Okay, well, dear, we have some work to do, don't we? Okay. Now, I want you to come up here in the front, okay, in front of everybody, and we're going to talk about your addiction, okay?
Okay.
Are you all right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we're just going to do the same thing a couple more times, okay? By the way, if we're not able to get her down to a 0, and she's going to be very accurate, right?
Yeah.
Okay. If we're not able to get her down to a 0, what does that suggest? Maybe the collarbone breathing, possibly, but probably there's something toxic in the room. And we already know it's possible with her because another issue we had to go outside the room to do that. So we don't know this for sure, okay? But anyway, you know where it is, so go ahead.
I do.
Okay.
Even though I have this
Even though I
craving,
still have.
Even though I still
Wait
have.
a minute. Where is yours?
I can visualize it.
No, that's what. No. Wait, no. Here's a brand new one. Nobody's even opened that one. Look at that one. Look at that one. Okay. First of all, I want to take a little bite of it too. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Is it still a 6, or did you get to an 8?
This is interesting. The thought that I have about wanting it is still at a 6. The taste is probably a 2.
No. Okay. Well, maybe that's progress. I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay. We're in the sore spot.
Okay.
Even though I still have some of the cravings.
I still have some cravings
Well,
that chocolate. I completely accept and love myself. Even though I still have a craving for some of that chocolate, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I still have a craving for that chocolate, I deeply and completely accept myself.
All right. You know how to do it, don't you?
Remaining craving for chocolate.
Look at it.
Remaining craving for chocolate.
Smell it. Go ahead.
Remaining craving for chocolate. Remaining craving for chocolate. Remaining craving for chocolate.
You're going to get slapped, Gary.
Craving for chocolate.
Okay, well, we're counting around a little bit, but I want to genuinely get to what your number is for that. Here, hold it for a minute. Take it up, smell it, whatever you want to do with it.
Probably a 4. I could pop it in my mouth without a moment's hesitation, but I could also hand it back. But it feels like another component to me. I could hand it back to you and sit down and be okay, but I would still be thinking about when am I going to get to eat it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So.
Okay. All right. Here. You just hold it for a second, okay? Close your eyes. Open. Hard down right. Hard down left. Roll them in a circle. Other way. Happy birthday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Happy birthday. Okay. Remaining craving.
Remaining craving.
Remaining craving.
Remaining craving for chocolate. Remaining craving. Remaining
Take a look at that. Take a look at it, okay?
Remaining craving.
Yum, yum, yum. Wait. Remaining craving.
Remaining craving.
Okay.
Well, it's starting to look very silly.
Well, I know
I'm about a 2 right now.
You're about a 2. Okay. Well, remaining craving.
Remaining craving.
Remaining craving. Remaining craving.
Remaining craving.
Remaining craving.
Remaining craving.
Remaining craving. Remaining craving. Okay. Are you still a 2?
Yeah, I'm still a 2.
You're still a 2. All right. Hold this from you. No, not you. Adrian, hold it for a second. I'm going to do the collarbone breathing. Are you okay?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm embarrassed. It's hot.
No, it's okay. No need to be embarrassed. You're just defective. That's all. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Breathe all the way in. Halfway out. All the way out.
See, this is the
Halfway
time
in.
she didn't get all the way down, so
Okay.
then you try the
Breathe normally.
collarbone breathing, and this could do it right here.
It could. We don't know. All the way in. Halfway out. All the way out. Halfway in. Okay. Make knuckles for me. Okay. All the way in. Halfway out. All the way out. Halfway in. Okay. Over here. Yeah, okay. All the way in. Halfway out. All the way
This
out.
is a technique that looks
All
like,
the way
it seems
in.
like it takes so long to do, and it really, once you get it down, it's real quick.
Actually, right about there. All the way in. Halfway out. All the way out. Halfway in. Okay. All the way in. Halfway out. All the way out. Halfway in.
Yeah.
No, this one. Only this one's a
Well, you don't want the other one touching your body.
No, okay. Well, anyway. Okay. Knuckles. Knuckles. Knuckles.
Okay.
All the way in. Halfway out. All the way out. Halfway in. Okay, last one.
Normally, that wouldn't be a problem for
All
you
the way
because
in.
you'd be doing your own tapping.
Halfway
so both
out.
your arms would be up.
All the way out. Halfway in. Okay. We probably need to do some more tapping, but smell that, okay? You're still a 2?
No, I'm a 1.
You're a 1. Okay.
Yeah.
Remaining craving.
Remaining craving.
Remaining craving.
Craving.
Remaining craving. Remaining craving. Remaining craving. Remaining craving. Remaining craving. Take a little taste of it and tell me what you are.
It doesn't have much of a taste at all right now. When it melts on the very back of my throat, there's a little bit of taste, but
Is it a desirable taste? Is it a craving taste?
it's not a craving taste. It would be, I think, having a piece of fruit. It's a nice taste. That's all. It doesn't
Okay.
right now hold any more power than any other taste.
Okay. Why don't you eat the whole thing? Go ahead.
Well, I don't want to eat it now. I want to save it for later.
No, wait.
I don't
Wait,
want to eat it
you can
now.
have anything in that bag you want.
Okay.
You can have anything in that bag you want. Eat
Then
that
this
one
I
now.
don't want to eat this one now.
What's wrong with it?
I just don't want it.
You want to argue with me?
No.
Okay, well, you don't have to.
Oh, okay, here.
Okay, all right. Can we give Jen a hand?
I guess the part of the report is that I left after the chocolate thing, really, truly not wanting to eat that chocolate, but still feeling real connected to what I refer to as the craving,
Yes.
that whole big package. And my darling sister left a piece of chocolate sitting right in front of me when I sat down. And what I realized is that although if I really asked myself the truth, I didn't want to eat it, there was still something going on. And I had checked it with Adrian, and I did a tapping on the compulsive thinking about it, just because it's there. And it did work. I have actually gone through several minutes at a time since then that I haven't thought about the piece of chocolate sitting there, and that's a huge thing for me.